am honored now to introduce our commencement speaker. Mike Shum, class of 2007, is an award-winning independent filmmaker specializing in documentary, cinematography, and journalism. Born in Denver to immigrant parents from Hong Kong, Shum was shaped by navigating multiple cultural perspectives through his Asian American upbringing. At CC, he majored in sociology while also pursuing minors in film studies and African studies. Shum has built a career building bridges, investigating journalism and cinematic storytelling. His work often highlights underrepresented voices and sheds light on complex global challenges. As an independent filmmaker, his projects have taken him from conflict zones to communities facing profound change, always with a focus on human resilience and power of narrative. Shum is currently serving as a Nieman Journalism Fellow at Harvard University, where he is exploring the future of journalism and examining how storytelling can forge public trust and accountability through documentary film. Please join me in welcoming Mike Shum.
I got a little step up here. This is great. All right. Thank you for the introduction and inviting me to speak here today, President Whitaker. I'm so honored to have the privilege of addressing Colorado College. Trustees, distinguished faculty, alumni and staff, and loving family and friends who traveled here to celebrate the class of 2025. Let's give them a round of applause. I really loved saying that. That was great. All right. Good morning, seniors, and congratulations. It is an unbelievable feeling standing here today, 18 years after my own graduation. It's been a long and amazing journey to get here, and I'm grateful for that. But I think it's important to remember that every journey comes with missteps, hardship, and consequences. So, here are some of my own. I've broken phones, computers, and crashed hard drives. I've dropped my camera more than 24 times. I've been detained 3 times while filming. I was even briefly kidnapped once. Sorry, Mom. I was scammed 3 times and robbed 5 times. I ended a business partnership. I've been fired from 2 jobs. I've lost friends. I've lost loved ones. I've cried to myself many times. I got scared many times too. I still get scared. When I feel fear, I remind myself of the people who gave me strength along the way, people who took the time to see me, really see me. Today, I'd like to share the words of some of those people. CC alumni, a college professor, and a famous rapper. One of the alumni is David Burnett, class of 1968, and a world-renowned photojournalist who covered the horrors of the Vietnam War. He was also my commencement speaker. I remember the ceremony was outside on the main quad out there. The sun was beaming, and I was sitting behind 3 remarkably tall classmates, so I couldn't see anything. But something David, or rather his voice on the loudspeaker said, stayed with me. "Don't forget how you got here," he said. "No one does it alone." Keep in mind, the support of your fellow classmates, that doesn't have to end. After you graduate today, you'll find that the community of your college years will only expand to a wide network of alumni and affiliates. Today, I have the great honor of welcoming you into that bigger community, which has been so crucial in my own life. Back then, though, on my graduation day, I wasn't thinking about community. I was thinking about whether my family's lunch reservation at Jose Muldoon's could accommodate 1 more person. I was also thinking about pursuing a career in filmmaking and feeling how absolutely absurd that idea felt. You see, I majored in sociology. I had no money. I didn't have a film internship lined up, and I admit I was too afraid to apply to film school. So I reached out to one of my mentors, the late Professor Adrienne Seward, for her wisdom. I remember her sitting me down in her office. She liked to put her hands together. She rocked back in her chair, carefully choosing her words. She told me, and I'm paraphrasing, "Facing fear is like stepping into a dark doorway. Don't close your eyes, keep them wide open. You realize you start to feel your eyes adjusting. You can make out the walls and sense the obstacles before you. You focus on your steps. If you start out slowly, your footing gets better. You'll know when to speed up. You'll know when you get braver." I started out slowly. I took my first job with the admission office here at Colorado College. I was tasked with American Ethnic Minority Recruitment and Application Review. I thought, what better way to use my sociology degree and also saving money up for my new camera? What I didn't expect was how my community grew to include new friends, colleagues, and administrators. I met incredible prospective students and their families, one of whom is now a faculty member here, Juan Miguel Arias. Yeah, this guy. It's so cool. I saw how vast and accomplished the CC Alumni Network is and met many of them personally, including Dr. Neil Bayer, class of 1973. You see, Neil is a medical doctor and a television writer. At the time, he was executive producer of the hit TV series Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Like many alumni, Neil was generous with his time. We talked at length about storytelling and how the block plan has this unique ability to grow filmmakers. He then graciously invited me to New York and joined the show's director's apprenticeship. I left my job at the college. At the studio, I met everybody. The director, cinematographer, the writer, big-time actors, and I thought, wow, I could get used to sets and actors. I could get used to this fancy life. I can make crime drama television. But it was the renowned actor and rapper Ice-T who convinced me to take a different path. Allow me to explain. Part of filming took place in Coney Island, which meant everything took 3 times longer, resulting in a lot of waiting around. That's when Ice-T called me over. "Yo, what's your story, kid?" That's what he said. I told him about the block plan and how I started out in film making short documentaries. I told him about filming the criminalization of poverty in Chicago, filming in Tanzania and East Africa, and later filming a block trip in Sierra Leone with sociology professor Wade Roberts. Suddenly he interrupted. "Hold up, I don't get it. Why are you on Law & Order filming with us?" He saw I was puzzled. "You sound like you really dig this documentary thing," he said. "Why don't you go out and see what you can do with that, and if it doesn't work out, come on back to the set of the NYPD. I'll still be here." Ice was right. Sometimes the people around you see something you don't. Like Manya, I had a plan, a 10-year plan in fact, to become a successful documentary filmmaker. So here's how it went. First, I would apply to Stanford's Master's in Fine Arts program in documentary film and learn all the necessary skills about cameras, writing, editing, basically everything you need to know to complete a professional documentary. Then I would venture back to one of the places I studied abroad and start making connections to build an international career in filmmaking. Finally, I would win an Oscar, a Pulitzer, or an Emmy, or one of each. This is how my plan went. I did not get into Stanford University. And that was the end of my plan. I was heartbroken, dejected. I felt like I wasn't allowed. The rejection letter could have easily read, "Documentary film, not for you." But the reality was I faced a choice. I could dwell in my disappointment or take another step into the unknown. So I chose to take whatever money I saved and bought a one-way ticket to East Africa. I'm telling you this story because sometimes you don't quite know what the dream is until you start pursuing it. Now, I'm not saying everyone should just run off to East Africa right now, but I believe there is moral value in abandoning the so-called plan and stepping into that dark doorway described by Professor Adrian Seward. For me, embracing the unknown was embracing curiosity. But in 2011, curiosity evolved into responsibility. I was on a humanitarian aid ship, headed to Tripoli during the Libyan Revolution. It was my first active war zone. I actually reached out to my commencement speaker, David Burnett, for some advice. He told me, eyes open, capture history, and don't die. It was then I found my purpose in journalism. Reporting, fact-gathering, fact-checking, and the overall process of journalism became integral to my filmmaking process. Capturing history became a responsibility. Over the past 15 years, I have been fortunate enough to share the history of some of the most inspiring, beautiful, and at times painful human stories across this globe. I found purpose in showing diverse perspectives across political, racial, and socioeconomic divides. I found purpose in shedding light on stories that would otherwise remain lost or hidden. I found purpose in holding unchecked power accountable. Journalism also became a tool for facing fear. So I admit, I was a bit nervous getting up on stage here today. So to combat my fear, I started reporting on this year's graduating class. I spoke with members of the faculty, administration, and the student body. Here's some of what I learned. There are 536 of you graduating here today, the largest class of Colorado College. I said one of the largest, but apparently that's the largest? It's amazing. Among you, there are runners, rock climbers, dancers, musicians, skiers, and snowboarders. Okay, too many skiers and snowboarders. Yeah. You're diverse. You come from different countries, different parts of this country, multiple gender and sexual orientations, Black, brown, Asian, biracial, basically far more diverse than when I was here. You venture to places like Brazil, China, Mexico, and France. You speak multiple languages. You care about people who are suffering, about famine in the Horn of Africa, and the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. You engage with this world. I even learned that knitting is becoming a serious thing here. Who knew, right? I also want to take a moment to acknowledge that for some of you, your experience here may not have been easy. When I went to school here, it was also difficult for me to navigate as a scholarship kid and a student of color from the Montbello neighborhood of the Denver corridor. What I can tell you is that the hardship you endured makes you stronger. Trust me, it gets better. But the overwhelming theme that emerged from my reporting is that the class of 2025 is an excited class, an energized class, overwhelmingly, and one that's eager to get into the action. You are ready to graduate. You are ready for this speech to be over. I'm just kidding. Someone check your watch? No, I'm just kidding. Something else I learned was that 15 of you are graduating with minors in journalism. This is inspiring to me because there wasn't a journalism minor here when I was a student. And I'm proud Colorado College established the Journalism Institute in 2018. But you are all graduating at a moment when journalism is under attack. Higher education is under attack. The US Constitution is under attack. The truth is, I fear for this moment. A lot of us do. But I believe it is important to recognize when we're feeling vulnerable, uncomfortable, and afraid. I invite you to begin this next step in your journey by cultivating a relationship with fear. It is in this kind of reflective work we learn to overcome difficult moments. You are graduating at a moment when it is vital to take a stand. For my part, I stand for the right to continue reporting the facts and making documentary film. I stand for press freedom. I stand for academic freedom. I stand for scientific research, the humanities, and the arts. I stand for the students and the faculty of Colorado College to continue the liberal arts tradition, to continue controversial and challenging discussions across campus and in the classroom. And I stand for you, the class of 2025. I'm confident in your will and talents to make our country and our world a more peaceful and equitable place. And I invite you to stand up for your own voice and freedom of expression. Commit to the facts. Subscribe to the journalism that is vital to our democracy. I think often about the words of Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Maria Ressa. Silence is consent. Don't be silent. However, in these moments, there's still things that give me joy and comfort. Like the fact that Ice-T is still playing a detective on Law & Order Special Victims Unit after 25 years. Incredible, right? Like continuing to reach out to CC alumni like David Burnett and Neil Baer. The work I do still reveals awe and wonder in the people I meet in this world. And the memory of Professor Adrienne Seward and her words, they continue to give me comfort. Don't close your eyes. Keep them wide open. Your eyes adjust. You sense the obstacles in front of you. Focus on each step. You'll know when to speed up. You'll know when you get braver. I'll just add, you don't have to be brave alone. Today, you join the Colorado College community, stretching far beyond the boundaries of this campus. Let's be brave together. Let's stand together. Thank you.